Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Sturzdorf. We shall be watching in one half of the map, Steffhof, fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 2nd Armored Division, fighting versus the Steffhof, shall be Stephenn. Stephenn fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 14th Volksgrenadiers Division. An exciting fight lays ahead. Whatever shall happen, I'm sure we'll find out, hopefully. Otherwise I'll be facing problems. Anyways, 2 Volksgrenadiers, well, not 2 Volksgrenadiers, but Wehrmacht Corps to start with 2 pioneers and a bike coming out right first out for Stephenn versus a barrack 2 engineers for the Steffhof. Points being secured here. Not quite the same approach. In fact, Stephenn, bit more aggressive, a bit more bold, goes for the munitions. He ignores the fuel initially, or perhaps he's having plans for the high fuel. And he's building something, but bike out, what shall follow up? MG 42 Schwers MG 42. Rifleman out on the other hand for Steffhof, and certainly the bike will not be able to really take on and defeat the Rifleman unless somehow the Steffhof plays awfully bad. But then of course, it can be useful in keeping in a track of the opponent, even doing a bit of harassment, possibly even killing 1 rifleman with that machine gun. Could be, we might be seeing some catwalking going on there by Larry, the ever excitable, running a bit out of the cover and finding himself to be a nice and easy target for the bike. And that's certainly the sort of risk you can take if you do catwalking. You end up with 1 guy, a rather nice, easy target. But the rest of the force is moving in. We are seeing the MG42 moving up, and we're seeing a 2nd bike. I wonder what Stephenn's up to. This is definitely a bit irregular play. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. And of course, we can sort of then look at what happens, why does it happen, and should you actually do it yourself. But there we go, Rifleman suddenly suffering quite a bit right there. Bike and MG doing quite a bit of damage, killing 1 man each. There we go, 2 to the bike. 2 to the MG, they're definitely keeping pace. Another rifleman squad arriving. 2nd bike out. Rifleman rolling in. MG slowly advancing. Bike sort of doing a bit of reconnaissance, trying not to perhaps keep the rifleman away. Lots of machine guns out for Stephenn so far. Versus the men of the Steffhof, and there we go. Catching that, and then there we go. 3 machine guns hammering in bullets into the rifleman. Down on the ground, seeking refuge amongst the shrubbery and whatever they can seek cover behind. Doesn't really avail them much, and they are run off with some nasty casualties right there without doing much damage. And certainly I imagine that the thing that Stephenn here is going for isn't just basically lots and lots and lots of bullets. I mean, even though the MGs, I mean, they're not going to be fully effective, I mean, they're still pretty alright. In fact, they're more accurate at longer ranges than, say, the LMG 42. So, I mean, they can do quite a bit, plus, of course, they're quite cheap. So, I mean, throw those in with an MG42, you can do alright, of course, in the longer run. You will need something a bit more sturdy, like, say, some infantry, because those bikes can rather quickly go down, in particular, without any veterancy. Though if you can get some veterancy for them, they can become somewhat sturdier. MG42 popping into the house here, that's not a bad idea. Rifleman heading out there, rather realizing that running into a lot of MGs right there is not good for the health of his men. Bike slightly pulling back, some getting repaired, engineers hiding in the barrel factory but quickly escaping, finding it does smell a bit like stale wine. Rifleman caught out on the open a bit, but they are quickly shifting over towards the east. The Steffhof going for the high fuel. Stephenn so far not so much. In fact, he's only got 1 fuel point, which is definitely a bit of a problem for Stephenn. While flamethrower engineers moving in to attack his pioneers, trying to secure the fuel point right there. This is looking less grand at the moment for Stephenn. Steffhof moving in. Could flank this heavy machine gun, or the bike could do their best to sort of keep things at bay there. Oh dear, this is turning out to be a complete disaster for Stephenn. Rifleman moving in from several angles. The MG42 outnumbered. Bike's in trouble. He could in fact end up losing at the very least 1 bike. We do see 1 rifleman squad getting absolutely pummeled, but the Volksgrenadiers run off. 1 bike is in a terrible condition, and the Browning automatics pop bike is gone. MG's run off. In fact, Stephenn has been completely run off the field, and he's getting snipers. That's perhaps not really what's going to help him regain the map. Reinforcements will be needed, though, rather swiftly. But there we go, high fuel secured and connected. And of course, Browning automatics rather giving Steffhof the infantry advantage, although again he's only got 3 squads. So there could be something there that Stephenn could do. Reinforcing his troops is definitely going to help. Oh, they're again lacking a bike. Sniper getting off a few kills, sending the rest of the riflemen running back home. Except for these guys. They're a bit tougher. Mines going up, lovely job there by Steffhof. MD almost done, Volksgrenadiers ready. And of course Stephenn does know he has some time before he can expect any sort of armoured car or armour. Overall, due to the presence of the Browning automatics, they do cost a bit, in particular in fuel. But at the same time, Stephenn does need to push forward pretty hard, and he needs to do some damage. And we're talking proper damage. Looks like, oh, mining down there, rather vicious. Nice and aggressive by the Steffhof. Stephenn, though, moving in, has to be a bit careful. Laying down more mines. No mines was, I think, for Stephenn. And he's getting a second sniper. That is some pretty high risk play. In particular with all those mines laying around and not enough infantry to sort of lead the way. Oh, and the sniper misses the engineers. What bloody poor luck. Rather than pushing in, the bike could be in trouble. Damaged engine already. Mine goes off, killing 2 Volksgrenadiers, pinning and heavily wounding the rest. Bike down. Stephenn is constantly bleeding out. He does get a few kills, but rather than moving in from the flank, the MG is exposed. Oh, the inhumanity. And the only thing to delay them are a few Volksgrenadiers with some pretty bad wounds and burn marks. And the west is being pretty much also secure as well. MG42 does what it can to stop the rifleman, but the rifleman already getting past it as it is in fact setting down. And now the sniper saw that. Oh, second sniper up though. Rifleman down. 2 snipers versus 3 riflemen. Steffhof realizes this is not a good situation for the Steffhof and the 2nd infantry, or the 2nd armor, and thus decides to get away. 14 Volksgrenadiers though keep hanging on. Troops reinforcing. Snipers moving out, hoping to catch a few more kills. With the Gewehr 43s with the scopes. Usually though the Kar 98K was used as the sniper weapon. Engineers almost down. Riflemen trying to sort of flank up, perhaps even cover the retreat path, but they do hit a mine, making themselves nice easy targets. And there we go, 2 more down. Small pile of dead Americans. That looks a bit rude. MG moving up, riflemen pushing in, trying to catch those snipers, but Volksgrenadiers desperately charge in. Skirmish phase on the way. And there we go, riflemen caught in the middle of everything. Oh, goodness gracious, we could be seeing 2 rifleman squads going down right here. Or at least 1. Oh, damn. Stephenn was a bit slow there, otherwise he could really have done some damage there. Of course, Steffhof could also consider medic stations to continue things, but no, he's actually going straight for not a machine gun emplacement, but a motor pool. Now, of course, Stephenn needs to recapture as much territory as bloody humanly possible, and he needs a medic pack for that sniper before he catches a cold and dies. Minesweepers clearing out the mines, in fact, laying down their own mine first. Sort of not really thinking about, there's a mine right next to us. Perhaps we should do something about it, Heinz. Nah, we can do that afterwards. And there we go. Thankfully not spotted. And the mine goes off. Oh, heavy damage right there. 2 MG gunners down. Quickly running off the MG crew, which could open up for a nice assault by Steffhof. Krieg barracks almost done for Stephenn. Going for the cutoff point there. Medic packs have been equipped for one of the snipers, so he's definitely a little more cheerful. Pack on the way, worrying about any sort of armored car or armor. Not a bad idea. And minesweepers. He's getting lots of minesweepers. No flamethrowers for Stephenn, just minesweepers. Dodging the mine right there, but the riflemen are splitting out a bit more. 2 men down and pinned. Small relief right there, I imagine, for Stephenn as his pioneer squad makes one hell of a run for it. Snipers quickly rushing towards the other half of the map. Pack almost ready. Volksgrenadiers almost done reinforcing. He could consider perhaps getting some MP40s. He could also refrain from doing it, but let's go have a look at the Steffhof and the 2nd Armoured. Fighting against the 14th Volksgrenadiers. Rather than here getting blasted in the face. Looking rather close, but there we go. The armoured car is ready. The Greyhound is moving out. And catches some lovely Volksgrenadiers out in the open. 50 caliber, by the way, on the way as well. Infantry doctrine chosen. Going for the artillery. And also for the high munitions, which could definitely feed into some all-mat artillery should you feel like it. But there we go, the pack is up. Snipers and Volksgrenadiers retreating. More on the way from the Krieg barracks. Could it actually be some infantry for Stephenn and his 14th Volksgrenadiers? Rather than here getting suppressed rather heavily by the MG, and armoured car moving up on the flank. And the armoured cars take several hits, damaged engine, and mines at the same time going down for Steffhof. Excellent. Riflemen sniped, MG'd, and they are run off. Fun fact about Volksgrenadier organization: they were in fact supposed to have assault rifles. In fact, well, out of a platoon, 2 squads were supposed to have assault rifles, and then the 3rd squad was supposed to be equipped more like a regular Grenadier squad with rifles and a light machine gun. Of course, not all were able to get that. Some were equipped with MP40s, and some are just more regularly equipped like a Grenadier squad. But still, rather interesting thing. And again, that was one of the concepts of the Volksgrenadier divisions. You know, modern infantry with lots of firepower, not so many men. To a certain extent, it works. Some Volksgrenadiers actually did quite well against the Americans, others less so. And generally, the ones that did the best were usually also the ones with the highest amount of veterans from the Eastern Front and such. The ones the least were basically the ones with, well, fewest veterans and basically more poor sots that had to figure it out on their own with barely any training.
We are losing a sector.
But certainly some fun things there about Volksgrenadier organization. And certainly by this stage of the war, they were certainly also getting more and more fun little weapons. Mounting rather small infantry guns on pack equipment that could even be improvised as anti-tank guns. Other packs that were basically being shortened up. And other fun things. MD advancing a bit too incautiously, getting caught up there by the riflemen. Grenadiers still moving in. The slightly tougher troops of the Volksgrenadier division in this case. The veterans. Catching some engineers out there, but an American sniper at the same time has arrived. He will probably try and catch Stephenn's snipers, which is definitely not a bad thing, of course. The trick here, though, for Steffhof is to ensure that he doesn't get caught. Of course, he could just try to scare Stephenn's snipers into a bit more cautiousness, but no, Stephenn is, in fact, being pretty ballsy, assuming that despite having 2 snipers, his opponent will not bother with a counter-sniper, which is rather interesting. Usually, something like 2 snipers would usually sort of get a response from the opponent towards a counter-sniper. Oh, damn! Steffhof. Oh, rifleman squad down for Steffhof. And there we go, sniper down. Stephenn has lost a sniper. In fact, I think he already lost another one. I missed that, actually. That's rubbish by me. I apologize. But definitely looking a bit bad for Stephenn. He's rather strung out. Lost 2 snipers. Although he's got some Grenadiers now. Although, again, they are spread out. You could consider a mortar. You could consider a lot of things. Volksgrenadiers is getting hunted down and are quickly run off by a nice American push.
We're losing ground out there.
The Americans, by the later stage of the war, were running into some problems of their own, though that were largely due to reluctance. Basically, people didn't want to risk their necks, but even they were sort of starting to run into some slight manpower problems. To a certain extent, although not quite as bad as, say, the Soviets or the Germans. Nice artillery going in there on the MG and Grenadier position. Excellent use. At the very least, could force a full retreat. And there we go, the MGs run off. Grenadiers, oh, 2 down. Riflemen, though, are still getting blasted into bits by the rest. Grenades flying through and between the trees. Blowing up riflemen and, well, trees alike. The Germans cannot. And looks like some MP40s surrounding Steffhof's rifleman. He's constantly training new ones. Trier sent up. Perhaps Steffhof might want to consider a medic station. And a bike is out for Stephenn. And this rifleman squad could go down. Will the Grenadiers get the kill? And there we go. Helmut bags the shot. Though probably not a trophy. So slight recovery right there. Looks like he's actually got 3 Grenadier squads, realizing he needs some infantry. And of course, the best infantry of the Wehrmacht generally tends to be the Grenadiers. And there's of course you go blitzkrieg and get stormtroopers, as stormtroopers are tougher than the Grenadiers but still do the same amount of damage. Sticky bombs up for the Steffhof. Could do with some more mines. This would be a good mine spot. This, and this. In fact, he can lay down mines since they're the first ability chosen on the right hand side, which leads to the howitzer shoots. I mean, he's definitely got potential for it, but of course he might want to save up the munitions for artillery. Though again, could also perhaps consider placing an observation post on this. But you should not underestimate the power of mines. Definitely not. Grenadiers getting ready for another push in the name of the Wehrmacht. And certainly with the but again, another thing with the Americans were again the armour was also running some problems. They were getting also a lot less happy about it. They were suffering nasty casualties, and due to the problem that the Americans never really trained infantry and armour cooperation, there were definitely some problems actually getting off some assaults, since the armour and the infantry really didn't trust each other and usually would run away at the first sight of problems, leaving the other one stranded.
Grenades have arrived.
So there were some slight issues there. Rather than going down a bit, Grenadiers advancing. Precision lining up there, securing. Troops getting sniped. Grenades up. Of course, this reluctance also sort of resulted in a high usage of artillery. It actually resulted in some stages the Americans were actually running out of artillery ammunition, which rather meant they had to use it a bit more sparingly. Though some were a bit more clever, in fact, and began to use the Germans' equipment they were capturing to sort of deal with the Germans, which is definitely a rather nice improvisation. But there we go, flanking in, Steffhof's troops surrounding the Grenadiers, and we're going to see pineapple grenades, yes, but steel grenades also going in, and right on the... Oh, only one rifleman down, and flanking in, this is a full retreat, the Steffhof's Grenadiers force push back, and the MG just arriving to the scene. Rather realizes it's a bit too late to the party, and it has to pay the American piper. And it goes down. Stephenn's MG crew is dead. Tot, nicht mehr. Oh, this is absolutely disastrous right there for Stephenn. Action on all fronts. Flamethrower engineers pushing up against the pioneers. Volksgrenadiers with MP40s not dealing with engineers. Instead, they're busy taking points. And the bike moves in, spots an anti-tank gun, but he's probably trying to get that bloody Yankee sniper. Will he succeed, or will he run into the 30 caliber emplacement? No, he manages to dodge it, but will he still be able to get the sniper? Grenadiers advancing, rushing in fact, without veterancy, and take a loss already. Looks like the bike will escape rather by the skin of its teeth. And there we go, full retreat, but they could take out the bike on the retreat. And ow, the Volksgrenadiers actually managed to roll in and clear out the engineers. Their MP40s tearing through them. Jolly good job. And certainly one of the more interesting weapons to come up by the later stage of the war, but the German was the flak drilling, which was basically anti-aircraft, no, not anti-aircraft, but, well, anti-aircraft guns based on, well, aircraft machine guns. Basically stuff like, I know, from the Messerschmitt or the Stuka, mounted in a sort of three-gun setup and basically used against vehicles and, well, aircraft and other infantry. Rather fun thing. Primarily used on half-tracks, but I believe I also saw some conversion, for example, on the T-34. And some other bits. Interesting stuff. Rather than moving in from the north, Volksgrenadiers caught in the open and are quickly sent packing by the rifle from the Browning automatic. The Browning automatic sort of fought off as an assault weapon. You know, they basically walk with it and then they sort of basically fired away at the enemy. Not really say an assault rifle, but something I suppose close to the concept. And Sniper got counter-sniped by Stephenn Sniper, although he's actually pretty wounded already. And Stephenn's Grenadiers are pretty quick to run away. It's looking less good, less inspiring. In fact, all of his Grenadiers are retreating. except the boys on the left. Going again for the fuel point, and more specifically the cut-off point. Lots of fighting over that. And Rangers could be called in for the Steffhof still. Would like to see a supply upgrade for starters, but also a medic station for the Steffhof. I think that could really help him in the longer run and help certainly with the attritional aspect. But for Stephenn, we are seeing the Kampfkraft Center going up. We are also seeing the 4th tier on the way, the battle phase, which could definitely indicate we might be seeing a Panzer command soon. Some Panzers arriving from a Panzer division to support the Volksgrenadiers, probably a company of Panzers. Laying down mines, again lovely, except the sniper of course catches them and gets some poor bastard through the head.
We're losing territory.
Pack recruit, Volksgrenadiers might want to get away. Grenadiers advancing, Stephenn could consider perhaps equipping some of them with LMGs or a Panzerschreck, just in case. And of course you could also consider at least getting some veterancy for the infantry, in fact he is, and also getting for his armour, of course. Stephenn, the clever lad he is, thinks ahead, and of course gets some veterancy for his armour so he will always be guarded when he finally gets the armour. And again going for all the vital points in the east. Grenadiers lead a successful counter-attack. Munitions being expended on something, in fact he's getting a Goliath. Ooh, mine goes off. And artillery going in there. The Grenadiers though managed to escape it all in a rather dashing maneuver. Cold retreat. The Steffhof now though getting a tank depot of his own. And Stephenn doesn't even have Panzer command yet. Pushing up into the center with their own sniper, in fact a fresh sniper. Lots of manpower being expended on snipers on both sides. Bike rushes in, trying to perhaps catch the Yankee sniper. And expose him to the German sniper. Grenadiers forced away from here.
One of our sectors has been cut off.
Bike pushes in, and oh, sticky bomb on the bike!
We're losing territory.
And that's 180 manpower gone here. Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers fighting against the rifle in the east, trying to secure the fuel munitions point actually. Good maneuver right there, rather a bit out in the open. They are veterans who won as well. Grenadier down. Ooh, less good for the Germans. They do continue pushing. The Volksgrenadiers leading the way now. Stephenn still a bit caught up. He needs to break out. He's actually floating quite a bit of manpower and fuel. There we go though. Panzer command on the way. I might also want to get that Goliath moving. Tank depot still on the way for the Steffhof.
Losing a sector.
Fuel again being harassed. Goliath moving out. Grenadiers could also consider moving out, and again he could also consider perhaps upgrading some of them. Again, at least I think perhaps one LMG could in fact help quite a bit against the Steffhof's infantry. There we go, Volksgrenadiers under fire, rifle moving in, taking up position by the ramp. Mines being cleared out by the pioneers, and Volksgrenadiers getting run off by the riflemen. Losing poor Jürgen in the advance. Sniper pulling up. Grenadiers following up on the flank. Anti-tank gun moving up. So far no real armor though. Well, that might of course change in a minute. Grenadiers continue to march up, though suffering a bit to flamethrower engineers, although the engineers themselves could go down. And no, looks like Stephenn's playing a bit cautiously. Feels like he can't gain anything from those Grenadiers and thus quickly retreats them, thus avoiding having to pay another 14 manpower. Grenadiers are a bit expensive to reinforce.
Americans are seizing territory from us.
Of course, with all this infantry, Stephenn could consider getting a medic bunker. That would definitely assist him in the longer run as well, just like Steffhof would benefit from a medic station and perhaps some supply on upgrades. Engineers pushing in, fully manned. Though two Grenadier squads firing rather accurate Kar 98 K5 against them, and pioneers outflanking the anti-tank gun, although I'm not entirely sure who will win that fight. Ooh, Grenadiers run off. More support will be needed. Panzer command done. Another bike out. Could be close to getting a Panzer IV. You could also consider getting some Knight's Cross in the meantime. Die Ritterkreuzträger. And the first Sherman rolls out. Already equipped with the 50 caliber machine gun on top. Riflemen moving in towards the centre. Could be seeing a grenade, yes, to dig out the Volksgrenadiers, forcing them away from the fence, allowing the Riflemen to close in and take up position at the light cover, thus completely forcing the Volksgrenadiers off the field, at least from the centre. Excellent. Pack maneuvering about a bit. So close to Panzer IV. Goliath spotted. It does go off and actually damage the Sherman. Lovely there for Stephenn. Could be seeing the Panzer IV soon. It's got the fuel for it, and it's also got a ton of manpower. He really needs to expend some of it. It's usually you don't really gain much from floating resources. I mean, basically you sort of have to consider, I mean, every bit of manpower you're floating and not using is basically wasted manpower, because imagine, you know, that you sort of think of it all as one large pool of manpower, what you have on the field and what you have on the map, and it all counts together to a larger pool. Now imagine that while you might of course be waiting something for, let's say, some eventuality, of course, to sort of, yes, now I have the advantage. Imagine then your opponent pools all the resources on the field and then actually used it to sort of clear up your manpower, thus in the end meaning that while of course you might have hoarded some away, he's overall actually got a larger pool of manpower than you. That's sort of the idea. And of course, how might you sort of just work towards that? I mean, basically the best I can say is just, you know, train units. If you're floating manpower, doesn't even matter what it is, just train yourself towards doing it, then you'll sort of be able to sort of make some better choices in the long run, or get upgrades if you have, you know, full population cap. Things like that, I mean, can help in the longer run. And again, you're better off training something that's perhaps not the exact thing you need, rather than, you know, just floating resources and not having anything, and thus actually getting hammered by an opponent who knows just what he needs, or at least can get enough resources on the field. But first Sherman down pretty quickly for Steffhof. Not really good, not really good, but the second Sherman rolls out. Also with a 50 caliber mounted on top for dealing with aircraft. That's rather actually what that machine gun there on top was for. Dealing with aircraft, although of course it was also used against infantry, because, you know, if there's no aircraft about, you might as well shoot those little buggers running around on the ground. Grenadiers pushed away. Pack inching up. And some Grenadiers taking up a few shots there. Pack could in fact find itself overrun rather quickly. Panzer IV on the way. Another sniper out for Stephenn, giving him 2 again. Seems rather caught up his sniper. He's still floating 500 manpower. Come on, how about some Knights Cross, or some Grenadiers, or another pack, or a mortar, or an observation post, just, you know, something. But actually at this stage, Steffhof has actually suffered quite a lot. He's down to basically just, well, 4 units. He's got 2 rifle squads, a sniper and a Sherman, that's it. Otherwise, he's in fact pretty buggered. I mean, Stephenn has actually done quite a bit of damage to him. On the other hand, I mean, Steffhof still holds most of the map, and Stephenn doesn't really seem to be sort of making his way towards seizing it. A bit to his disadvantage. And that, of course, might be due to the snipers and all that. He's sort of in a more defensive mindset, yet, you know, perhaps not realizing how much damage he's done. And, of course, still not even doing some slight reconnaissance. Mine goes off there, killing one poor Volksgrenadier. And Steffhof, despite having suffered quite brutally, he's just pushing on. He's keeping up the pressure again, sort of keeping Stephenn in that defensive mindset, which is actually pretty devious. But there we go. The first Panzer arrives from the 21st Panzer Division, supporting the 14th Volksgrenadiers. High explosive rounds are flying through the air and not quite connecting with any Americans quite right away. Of course, with Infantry 1, it will have a decent advantage against the Sherman now, and as of course the Sherman gets upgunned. And the bike is hiding in the corner. Veterans on the way for the support units. I would still recommend using some of all that manpower. Again, a pack or some Knights Cross or more Grenadiers could definitely be of help, or a bunker or 2. Lots of possibilities. Sherman wreaking havoc on the right flank, tearing through German infantry. High explosive rounds and 50 caliber rounds turning into the poor soldiers of the Reich. Riflemen advancing. Ooh, heavy damage to some Grenadiers. And a sniper down again. Panzer IV doing what it can, but not quite actually in range to hit. Oh, Stephenn, you do seem a bit unsure what to do with it. Of course, now feeling you need to react to the Sherman down there, and thus leaving the northern front a bit exposed. In fact, collapsing that thing again. Ostwind flak panzer moving out to try and pluck the hole there.
territory.
Looks like an off-map combat group for Steffhof. Armored cars, pack, anti-tank gun and some riflemen. Not the greatest. Oh wait, looks like he's also got a mortar. Did he train that one himself? Oh well. Still, he's making some progress again. Slightly larger formations. Panzer IV getting outflanked by the Sherman. Although there's a pack awfully close. Riflemen also moving in. They could get off a sticky bomb. Veterans E2 riflemen do have increased sticky bomb range. Panzerschreck on the Grenadiers. Armor car arrives. 250 caliber guns directed against the Grenadiers. Pack opening up on the Sherman. Armor coming in, but they need to both get out of there. Volksgrenadiers keep moving in, and they're just exposed to rather intense machine gun fire and high explosive rounds as well. Panzer IV in, well, reasonable condition, but with a damaged engine. Only thing that saved it was that pack. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I had a bit of trouble sleeping. Woke up a bit earlier than usual. And there we go, the Ostwind moving in, trying to hit what is hopefully an exposed part of Steffhof's lines. Of course, there's an anti-tank gun right next to it. Still that, and he's in fact floating an awful lot of munitions. He's got enough for 2 howitzer strikes. Mortar rounds going in on the incoming Grenadiers. Probably trying to hit the original target. The Ostwind, of course, that's a bit farther ahead, so the Grenadiers instead are the target.
Our front lines are collapsing.
Rifleman sniper moving in. Panzer IV getting repaired. And there we go, the Ostwind moving in, trying to catch the rifleman. Blasting away, in fact, even getting a few kills. Greyhound rolls in, and the anti-tank, and it's not quite aimed in the right direction. Bike down again. I think that's the 4th bike for Stephenn, possibly even more. Certainly, I imagine Steffhof doesn't mind blowing those up, but that's basically 180 manpower out the window for Stephenn. Which, considering he's lost 4, is about 720 manpower. Nothing to complain about there. Grenadiers launching out in a rather large force supporting the Ostwind. Panzer IV moving in from the south mark. They'll be going for the fuel point right here. And of course, note, there's absolutely no defences there. Not even freshly laid mines by Steffhof. And that could definitely prove to be to his and in the 2nd Armoured Division's disadvantage. Sherman rolling in. Grenadiers advancing up, but getting exposed to this Sherman. Rifleman moving in. Artillery going in, right around the victory point, perhaps to sort of get anything close to it. Not entirely sure why, since they are actually a bit spread out there. That seems like a bit of an odd position to call in the artillery right there by Steffhof. I really have a hard time understanding why there. Rifleman advancing, trying to clear out the Grenadiers, but instead running into a rather hefty combination of the Ostwind and the Panzer IV, keeping the Riflemen at bay. 2 kills for the mortar and more engineers ready. Only 1 supply upgrade as well. That's not as well, but at the moment. Still could do with a medic station. He could also do with another medic supplied upgrade. He's also got 640 fuel and counting.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory cut off from supply.
Veteran C2 for the Panzers. Gives some small advantages here and there. I think the Ostwind actually gains a health bonus, whereas the Panzer IV gets the machine gun on top. So that should help overall against the American infantry. Greyhound moving in. Ostwind actually heavily damaged. Panzer IV misses. Pack getting recruit.
Sector B
Main gun destroyed on the Ostwind. The Greyhound might actually knock out the Ostwind flak panzer. He could also lay down a Greyhound on there. And there we go! Greyhound gets the Ostwind, but the Panzer IV avenges its flak's panzer brother. But still, nasty stuff. And now the Panzer IV's left behind. They could steal the anti-tank gun and turn it against it. They could even try and get off some sticky bombs, although the Panzer IV actually gets this German. King Tiger arrives as well from reserves. So far, not seen.
We're losing a munitions sector.
Pack does get recruit, but at the same time, the King Tiger does arrive with its rather severely large gun. And the pack is actually pretty damaged, so one shot from the King Tiger could potentially knock it out. Tank destroyers, though, are arriving in. Probably another off-map combat group. More riflemen rolling in, and an anti-tank gun more.
Lost a unit. They're all dead.
Units dying for Mr. Steffhof. Looks like the anti-tank gun crew was MP40'd.
Base is under
Panzer
attack.
IV pulling in. King Tiger providing support fire, and the sniper clearing out any pesky riflemen at the same time. At the same time, looks like some Grenadiers actually snuck into the base of Steffhof,
Grabbing territory
but are
from
quickly
us.
run off. Rifleman squad severely depleted by lots of heavy tank fire is finally run off. Down to one engineer trying to secure the fuel point, and it looks like they make it. Looks like they make it. Come on, retreat. But sadly, it does not happen. Instead, the anti-tank are now arriving, but it's actually exposed to German artillery. I believe we might be seeing a firestorm right there, since, of course, Stephenn has gone for terror. And he strikes the tower of the Third Reich through incendiary rockets, blasting the anti-tank crew down, and tank destroyer rolling in, but without support is easy pickings for the panzer machine of the 21st Panzer Division supporting the 14th. And the engineers are still out there. Oh, anti-tank gun, or was it the tank destroyer? No, it was the anti-tank destroyer getting off a nice hit, blowing up the Panzerkampfwagen 4. That was dreadful right there for Stephenn, although probably a bit unexpected.
We finished construction.
Grenadiers reinforcing and reforming.
Squad, reinforce. Taking fire.
Snipers and a mortar also arriving, perhaps doing everything to do some counter mortar fire on the positions of Steffhof. Still no LMGs for his Grenadiers, though. That could perhaps help Stephenn a bit. Though, of course, he could also end up doing nothing. That can be a bit the tricky part with the LMG 42. Sometimes it's quite alright, sometimes it's decent, and sometimes you're just wondering why on earth and what the bloody hell is going on. Oh, nice mortar round up there, killing two riflemen outright. Veteran G1 for the American mortar. And, oh, howitzer round knocks out the mortar. The 8cm mortar crew is dead. Themselves targeted by counter-artillery fire. Oh, the irony. Sending a lot of pressure on Stephenn all of a sudden. Down to King Tiger, Panzer IV and Ostwind. Gone. Only got a few Grenadiers and some Volksgrenadiers. And that is about it. Possibly a sniper, actually. Yes, indeed. Fight here between the Grenadiers and the Riflemen does result in the Riflemen pulling away in this standoff. The Grenadiers, though, still only 1 point of veterancy. He could consider getting veterancy 2 for them. It would certainly help to make them tougher. Going for the munitions point, though, the Grenadiers quickly and hopefully expertly counter-attack. The Americans do manage to render it neutral, but they drop a Browning automatic in the process, allowing the Grenadiers to sneak in and pick it up, increasing their overall firepower by a bit. So, Stephenn once more pushing forwards. Looks like the Steffhof is preparing for another off-map combat group. In fact, looks like he's largely turn to relying on those for his weapons, his armaments, and his boots on the ground. A bit risky, but I suppose it can occasionally work out if he gets off that really good thing. And sadly, Stephenn was not able to salvage that bit. Instead, the King Tiger took it out. It was in the way for its mighty Krupp steel gun. Rifleman here getting blasted in the process. Grenadiers also advancing. Ooh, Rifleman down. Let's return to Stephenn with firestorms and what not. It's now getting caught by the Grenadiers, although the tank just actually gets off a nice kill. 2 mortars, including what looks like a German mortar. Oh dear, Steffhof actually managed to steal that one away from Stephenn. In fact, I believe he might actually sacrifice the full rifleman squad on that one. Not quite lovely there. Mine goes off there. Grenadiers advancing. Ooh, Patrick left behind. Stephenn lost the Grenadier squad. Grenade goes off. And looks like the mortar crew was taken out by a retreating Grenadier. Volksgrenadiers advancing, but a mine stops them. Rather close stuff right there for the Americans. Stephenn a bit pressured. He's down to basically a few infantry squads. And a King Tiger. And a King Tiger can't win the war alone. Despite however impressive it might seem. Still needs support. Rushing into 2 anti-tank guns with armor-piercing rounds could easily put that thing into the Tiger graveyard. Another Grenadier squad on the way to replace the ones lost. Resources. And when it looks like Stephenn is shifting back towards the west. Victory points falling into American hands. Mortar recruit and another off-map combat group giving him another anti-tank and another mortar. A rifle squad and a Greyhound. Oh my goodness, he's going to have 3 mortars. That's going to be a rather small battery of mixed, well, calibers. Since there's going to be German 8mm. Mines going off, stopping the Pioneers. Pioneers bring up on the right. There's nothing going to be stopping them. Right, at least until the mortar rounds start falling. King Tiger doing what he can to stop the riflemen. Not a full response from the Americans yet there. Advancing up the center. Patrick picked up again. Tank destroyed there. And it's not been repaired by Steffhof. What are you doing? This could actually end up being the end. Main gun destroyed. There we go. M10 is no longer combat effective. Mortar rounds still keep falling. Perhaps it might have been an idea to hide behind over here, behind the train. King Tiger rolling in. Volksgrenadiers for some reason actually backing off. So the Grenadiers and the King Tiger misses the Greyhound. Mortar rounds that fall dangerously close to his own infantry. And the King Tiger then folds up, knocks out the Greyhound. And the Pioneers are not actually getting mortared there, but the Grenadiers are forced away due to rather heavy mortaring, and particularly for the missed veterans who won one. And now the other one is moving up to support the other 2. Again, creating a rather small mortar battery, quite able of bombarding anything. Infantry base that is. Panzer IV on the way, and number 2, in fact, to sort of follow up on the first one, which rather sadly was lost. Pioneers trying to go for the munitions, but might risk getting run off. In fact, American mortar fire is on the way. Could he try and mine there? Oh no! He's sneaking up there. He could be waiting to do something here to the base. I mean, usually you see Americans move up to then rush in and perhaps lay down some demo charges or something, but he's actually here. And of course, he's got fast arm. He could, in fact, get a V1 and call that in case of a full mass retreat by the Steffhof. And the Panzerkampfwagen 4 is ready. Grenade, doesn't quite clear out the anti-tank gun. King Tiger does what he can to try and knock it out, and there we go. In fact, Grenadiers sorted out with their own rifles. 26 kills on those Grenadiers. They're definitely killers. But no, Veteran D2 would definitely benefit Stephenn's troops. Trying to knock out the anti-tank gun before the Americans managed to recruit it and turn it against the venerable Königstiger. And there we go, anti-tank gun down. Mortar rounds still falling down on the advancing Grenadiers. One anti-tank gun more cleared out, and the Grenadiers, in fact, quickly retreating. Artillery landing rather swiftly in succession. Once more, the front line is a bit on its own. Veteran D2 on the way for the infantry. About damn time, I would say. And there we go. B1 rocket ready. Taking a few losses. Sniper hanging back by the mortars. Now behind the train, in fact, slightly more lovely position, but the Grenadiers are moving in. The King Tiger following up, but there we go. Anti-tank gun rounds on the more exposed flank.
Forward supply lines are broken.
Mortars pulling back. Grenadier getting sniped. And retreating. And the mortars line up once more to blast the Krauts out of their hidey holes. The 14th Volksgrenadiers are definitely not going to have an easy time here. And so far haven't had it.
We have 200 points.
Mortars pulling up once more. Pioneer still waiting. In fact, he's got munitions enough for calling in a Firestorm and a V1 rocket. That's a lot of munitions, in fact.
We're losing territory.
Rather caught here between a Panzer IV, Veteran 2 and some Volksgrenadiers with MP40s. And the Grenadiers are quickly run off, taking some considerable damage even as retreating as mortar rounds continue to fall in. Bunker going down for Stephenn in an attempt to close off the victory point right there and ensure he can't be harassed. Instead, he's left behind with only one King Tiger to keep things contained. Advantage up here, but Riflemen dropping off grenades, though they quite nastily miss. And they are out in the open. In fact, Matt wants to run into the barrel factory for security and hope for some support. Sadly, that did not happen. Instead, now the Germans are re-securing the territory right there. Excellently done by Stephenn. Steffhof rather focused around here, but he's lacking a bit the striking force to really deliver the hammer blow against the Germans. Forging onwards nonetheless. With the Americans, that is. Flaps acting up a bit, I fear. Oh, unfortunate. Trying again. Looks more stable now. Steffhof again pushing forward. Stephenn and the 14th Volksgrenadiers counter-attacking with the aid of the mighty King Tiger and the less mighty but still impressive Panzer IV. And still another force coming out. Rangers now joining in. Riflemen, another anti-tank and another Greyhound. Those Greyhounds are a bit outdated at this stage of the fight. Too many big guns. And the Riflemen here out in the field. Oh, just gunned down in seconds. Grenadiers with 34 kills, my goodness. And these Grenadiers on the other hand. Oh, propaganda war a bit too soon, but still, we are seeing a rather clump up of forces right there. And the Pioneers are moving in. This could be it. Firestorm getting called in on this huge support position. All too clumped up, and a V1 getting called in there. Oh dear, Firestorm going in. 2 mortars down. Riflemen down, or at least somewhat down. Anti-tank guns suffering. And a V1 goes in and kills one Rifleman squad out. Completely knocks out the trios and leaves only one man left of the other one. Huge losses right there in a few seconds. Absolute carnage initiated by the 14th. The snipers somehow survived, but not a lot of mortars in fact, I don't think any did. And now only... Oh, come on, Fraps. So... And I think I'll just stop right here. I mean, it's continuing to just act up, and we're just basically at the first few minutes. I mean, it's pretty clear who's winning here. It's Stephenn. Steffhof, despite his best attempts, rather got booted out and booted in the face. He certainly made some mistakes. Partly, I think, in not preparing for the longer fight. He definitely should have gotten a medic station up earlier. Probably also the second supply yard upgrade. I mean, good job with the counter sniping, but in the end, he didn't quite have the sort of full tools for a longer fight, which rather hurt him. Plus, he needed more mines. Stephenn, on the other hand, certainly did not have the strongest of starts in some ways, but he certainly managed all right until he really got those 3 Grenadiers out And when that happened, he definitely began doing much better. Although again, with the artillery, he certainly had some problems. It certainly wasn't smooth sailing, and definitely what certainly helped Steffhof in the fight for so long were the off-map combat groups. Though again, had he had gotten something a bit stronger, he might have actually been able to do more damage to Stephenn. Fortunately, he did not, in a sense. In the end, his sort of reliance on off-map combat groups turned out to probably be his end, or undoing, whatever you might call it. Stephenn could himself have benefited from a medic bunker, perhaps less snipers, and, you know, perhaps a few more mines, and perhaps also some LMGs for his Grenadiers. But I mean, pretty much overall, pretty close fight. But in the end, you know, the V1 and the Firestorm rather sealed the deal and won Stephenn the fight. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this match. If you did, why not subscribe to your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is from Building, saying cheers.